Get Thursday evening, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center, taking a look at that current Doppler radar picture across North Florida and South Georgia. You do see some showers and storms here on the view, but right now nothing too noteworthy. A significant weather advisory that was in play for parts of Jefferson, Madison, Brooks, and Thomas County. That's been allowed to expire here. Not seeing a new one come out from the National Weather Service in Tallahassee. We have some other storms there toward Levy County. Maybe seeing some of that lightning there as you're getting down towards Cedar Key. But of course, whenever that thunder roars, you do want to be indoors. So that's something to keep in mind. I know you can definitely have some serious issues arise there with that electrical energy around. We've seen that here in our area this year, this week. Just got to really be careful here for sure. And then we'll go ahead and zoom on out now. You'll be able to kind of see here some of these warmer temperatures. I know, just comparing things. I mean, we're sitting pretty warm here, North Florida and South Georgia, about 836. I know we're at 82 degrees east of Stark, but up toward the west, still that really oppressive heat. Seeing some temperatures that are just at about 100 degrees or a little above as we look toward Abilene. So that's definitely interesting to see there as we get further out toward the Lone Star State. So kind of interesting there. And then we have some thunderstorm warnings as we look toward parts there. It looks like Maryland, Virginia, and then we actually have been keeping an eye on the weather up toward Ohio there. Toward Canton, Ohio, and where the Pro Football Hall of Fame is. There's been a weather delay, but the game between the Jacksonville Jaguars there and the Las Vegas Raiders, I almost wanted to say Oakland Raiders, but no, Las Vegas Raiders there. That'll be kicking off here in just a few minutes. We're slated to kick off there just after 8, but now 8:40. The new times with some lightning, but this activity has weakened on down here. Not seeing that lightning potential around here at this point. So that's some good news. Now, Saturday, as we look up there, toward parts of Ohio for the Pro Football Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Tony Baselli there going to be honored, of course, the first Jacksonville Jaguar to go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They're really spending his career, at least the bulk of it, with the Jaguars, and it's going to look pretty good. The weather will, it seems, at least in comparison to tonight, but still can't rule out some shower activity. So still be weather aware. Rain chance there on 50% for Saturday versus high-end chances 70-80% like what we were seeing there in the forecast for this evening. Still seeing some rain around, but again, that electrical energy, what delayed sporting events. Ironically, the first NFL event here of the season is luckily moving on out that lightning potential there in the word parts of Ohio where that Pro Football Hall of Fame is. For perspective, if you're not sure where this is, it's in Canton there. You see Cleveland to the north, Akron a little bit closer, but off to the north. And then we zoom out even more, you see Columbus, Ohio there, where the Ohio State University Buckeyes, they play there. And you see some other areas, Pittsburgh there, off toward the east. To kind of give you perspective, because not everybody knows where that is there in terms of geography. But I know I have my teal tie on. You might not really see it as teal. I think our chroma key is making a little more light blue, but I have my teal tie on there, a big weekend. And by the way, another thing just to mention on our mapping, sometimes likes to give us the wrong numbers, some issues there on one of these sites there in the state of Ohio. You see 43 degrees. It's definitely not 43 degrees. It might be in a couple of months there, but not right now there in parts of Ohio. So that's just a little bit of a fact there. You see 70s just toward Canton, toward Akron there. So just kind of give you that perspective. And then as we look toward the heartland, they had some flooding this morning there toward Fredericktown, for instance, and also up toward Jefferson County, Missouri as well. Getting some different reports in. I know Frederick County had some water rescues there in that vicinity. Just seeing some of that issue there towards St. Louis as well, some of those issues. So something, of course, we're keeping our eyes on. We're still keeping our eyes on the recovery efforts there in eastern Kentucky. A few showers popping up. They don't need these. Luckily, these look right now to be pretty short-lived, but I really don't want the additional rainfall. There's Jackson right now in parts of eastern Kentucky. You see Hazard to the south. They're staying dry at the moment, so that's some good news for them. And now we'll go ahead and take a look at some of these traffic cameras across the region. Let's start off with the Florida 501 perspective there toward Jacksonville. Right now, things looking pretty good in terms of seeing any type of precipitation there on the lens. That's some good news if you're headed maybe home. I know back to school. really a story here toward North Florida next week. I know Bradford County schools go back on Wednesday. Many schools here go back on that Wednesday, and luckily right now at least a little bit of time here maybe to enjoy the weather conditions this evening as you're making those preparations. Maybe taking advantage of the back to school sales. We'll have some showers and storms around, but not necessarily expecting washout conditions here toward the weekend. There'll be plenty of time for you to get out there, but at times still those inconvenient showers and storms will be around. So just keep that in mind. Tax-free weekend there through Sunday, and then we'll go on over toward the Gainesville the Gainesville, Florida 511 camera now. You'll be able to see what's going on there. You can see looking out toward I-75 there at State Road 222. You can see here some of those clouds in the distance, but really not seeing that precipitation fall there either here on this traffic camera. So just kind of interesting to get that perspective here. We'll go ahead and move away from these, just giving you a couple views outside if you're not able to get outside, or I don't really want to get outside here. Just trying to show you exactly what things are looking like in a couple of different areas via the Florida 511 traffic cameras. So trying to just kind of get you ready there for that back to school as well. Of course, that weekend forecast important. A lot of you that last chance to go to the beach there maybe for a little bit as summer break there coming to an end. And that's also another thing that you might be able to do if you don't want to go to the beach. Look at some rocket launches. There's been a couple of them visible from north central Florida. I saw both of them early this morning, this evening. I had a photo here of one from this morning that I wanted to show everybody. You can see here the view over 100 miles away from near Stark. First up, this is kind of that plume here. And then if you look real close, you have to look real close now, but I'll go ahead and kind of step on over here, and you'll be able to see it above my hand. That's your actual rocket there. Seeing that launching on up, and I had another one this evening. So just kind of interesting to get that perspective there. Looking off toward the southeast toward Cape Canaveral, where that was launching from, and then you can see there that track of that as we're kind of looking there just for perspective. This right here off toward the east, and then this is the south here per se, and then going up toward the north. So just kind of trying to give you guys an idea of what's happening with everything. Now we're going to have to talk about hurricane season. We got some updates here on the hurricane season prospects here. Luckily, we haven't seen too much develop at all. Only 3 named storms, and we're already in August, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to have a problem here later this hurricane season. Us or some our neighbors here, maybe a different state, maybe South Carolina, maybe Texas. You just never know. Just throwing out some states randomly there, but we're just going to go ahead and have to keep an eye on things. I know Colorado State expecting 15 more named storms. So only 3 of them. That means we'll get all the way there to that third line there. Really, our third column on the list is what I'm trying to say. So I just got to keep that in mind. And a 68% chance that a major hurricane strikes the U.S. this year, according to Colorado State. So we're just gonna have to keep our eyes open to that potential. I just got to keep our eyes open to that thread. And you see tropical climatology kind of telling a story here. I know as we look toward August, toward September, toward October, that's when we're really peaking here. You get late August, that's when we really see this go up quickly here. You have like a little cliff that you're going up and then a cliff that you're going down. And we're starting to make that jump here pretty quickly, make that trek up, but with the higher probabilities for tropical development in the Atlantic Basin. So just got to be prepared there. It's an interesting probability of 68% of a major hurricane hitting the U.S. That's pretty high. I mean, but doesn't mean it will. I mean, that's still a 32% chance there that one won't hit the U.S., but you got to be prepared here. So let's take a look at some of those preparation considerations. Really, make sure your hurricane kit is up to date. A basic disaster supplies kit includes water, non-perishable food there, battery-powered or hand-cranked radio, no other radio flashlight, and a first aid kit. You can find more information there at ready.gov/kit. And then inland flooding sometimes is a bigger concern. We've seen it with Faye and Debbie over the years. Don't even have to have a hurricane, and you can have problems, but of course, got to be prepared for those higher end threats as well, like a Michael, like an Irma with those higher wind and storm surge concerns. And just make sure your alternative devices, as power outages can be expected in some of these situations. and just be ready to move to an interior rim in a tornadic situation as those can arise, those spin ups there, and then after a storm moves through, staying away from power lines and also generator safety. That's critical too. Next 7 days, though, rainfall forecast. You see maybe some rain. They're adding up those totals toward western Tennessee, toward Kentucky. Hopefully, the bulk of this stays away from hazard, but you see some of these totals in 2-3 inch range toward West Virginia. That's something we got to keep our eyes on here. Just make sure we don't have some flooding. We've had a lot of flooding issues. We had flash flood emergencies here all over the place lately, it seems. So just got to be careful here with that potential. You see locally, though, we're talking about a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, something like that here on the views. So that's a little bit less for everybody. That's definitely some good news in terms of at least at times being able to get outside. Not washed out, but some of these days we'll have higher rainfall chances. I know seeing most of the storms kind of fall apart at this point. We had a warning earlier toward Marion County. Haven't seen any damage out of that storm, but we had some damage out of a storm in Alachua County last night, and currently, as we go on over toward the Doppler technology, we have some shower and a little bit of lightning action here, a little bit of thunderstorm action there as we look between Metcalf and Monticello. And you see remnant lightning strike, it looks like there, maybe South Equipment in Brooks County. So just kind of giving you guys that perspective. But now let's jump ahead here to that extended forecast, that 7-day outlook. If I were to see what we're talking about with that, 93 tomorrow, 93 on Saturday, 92 on Sunday there. In terms of those high temperatures, seeing them trend down some as we look toward Monday, but that kind of comes with a caveat. I know we need to watch out here for some Saturday storm chances to increase here at times, 60% chance there on that Monday, so just to be careful, of course. I have that concern. You also have the hot temperatures that can still be dangerous. I mean, got to really take that back seat of your car if you have a young child. Just got to be really careful in these type of situations. And then we'll go ahead here and look at the rest of the outlook. You can see here cooling down toward Thursday, 90 degrees, 60% chance of rain there. Above average here at points, but you see kind of closer to average there by Thursday. As we have some storms kind of taking over in the picture. Now we're still at 82 degrees right now, east of Stark. Looking at thermometer, no rain today here east of Stark, but yesterday we had almost 2 inches, 1.93, pretty significant. But we got up there in the upper 90s. We had that rain early in the day and then later in the day, so kind of interesting in that regard. But let's now go ahead and switch back over. You see some of the storm minutes there. Inward parts of North Florida, the Big Bend, South Georgia. You can kind of see here some of the action here extending further over in North Florida as well toward Levy County, toward Gilchrist, Columbia. We'll start off with Gilchrist and Columbia. A little bit of lightning there east of Branford. You can see here heavier rain there east of Bell, and then southeast of Cedar Key and north of Inglis right now. We do have some shower and thunderstorm action that we're watching here too. So just keeping our eyes on the radar. I know that Jacksonville Jaguar Hall of Fame game getting going there against the Las Vegas Raiders. Just kind of keeping our eyes on that here, of course. Seeing what could happen there as we look toward Canton. And just checking my notes here to see what else we need to talk about. I know just trying to see any other topic that we need to cover in the back to school. Of course, it's something that you're going to be watching. Hopefully, everybody stays safe at the bus stop here. We have that sunrise there. That'll still be pretty early on. I have 6:50 here today, so just be careful. But luckily, it's not a later sunrise. That helps at least to kind of preclude some of the issues that can arise here. So just kind of keeping our eyes on some different things like that. Just always important here to be careful as we're watching things. Just making sure we don't have anything else we need to cover here on this Thursday evening. I think we pretty much covered everything we need to, but of course we're back here as needed if we have storms that go severe like what we saw last night toward Gainesville and Alachua County, and having those damage reports, having that severe storm verify there. We had a flash flood warning in play. We got ahead and posted about that, but we didn't come on. We weren't sure about that flash flood threat verifying. Haven't seen any reports of that current at this point, but of course just always take every warning seriously that's come out there. Cloud_WDX on Twitter for the Jacksonville and Tallahassee County warning areas. Interestingly enough, those warnings were actually being issued out of Tallahassee yesterday because there were some issues, it seemed, toward Jacksonville. But of course, as we need to be on live, we'll do that on Facebook, KC Cloud there, WX at Cloud Weather, and then Twitter at Cloud KC, YouTube there. Just search for meteorologist KC Cloud, and Twitch there. Search for that as well. So I think that pretty much says it. I hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy things. Stay safe out there. Make sure you have that suntan lotion on as well. If you're headed out to the beach as you're trying to maybe dodge those storms that can be around from time to time, but don't cancel those plans. Just be careful out there, obviously, as folks are starting to get back in that routine as public school there starting in less than a week toward Bradford County and many of other zones. Some of them, though, are already getting going. Some of you may be watching from Southeast Georgia, seeing some of those schools get going there in South Georgia. So just best of luck to everybody, and I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. Trust in me.